Since the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Kyrgyzstan 25 years ago, both sides have improved the bilateral ties while upholding the principle of mutual respect and win-win cooperation. Remarkable progress has also been achieved since China and Kyrgyzstan carried out cooperation under the Belt and Road Initiative more than 3 years ago. So how can interaction with close neighbors bring tangible benefits to both sides? And how should we draw inspirations from this bilateral relations? Join me in our studio. We are honored to have Roza Otunbayeva, who is former president of Kyrgyzstan. Madam President, what a pleasure to see you in Beijing.
Thank you.
Last time I see you, it was on a beach resort full of sunshine, and here this is winter time.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of excitement in the air because of the Belt and Road Initiative. I understand, Madam President, you met with the Chinese president recently and got to know better about this BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. How much potential really is there for your country on this path?
This is really such a serious global initiative which has a very solid impacts on neighbors of China. My country has a 1,000-kilometer border, 1,000-kilometer border with China. And today when we are talking about the revival of the Silk Road, Great Silk Road, this is, it is the Belt and Road Initiative in some way.
Yes.
And we are we worked on the strategy how to implement this Belt and Road. So my country is eager to get access to the sea because we are landlocked country, and via those railroads which will go over the body of the country, will get such access. So far, no concrete project has been done in my country, but next door, Kazakhstan, they started to do a lot of things, and I was in 2015 in Chunsin, and I have seen with my own eyes this route which comes from Chunsin all the way through Russia, Belarus, Poland, and reaches Duisburg in Germany. So, and I know that there are goods going on this road. The road which will be, which will pass my country, will connects my country with the Persian ports.
Right.
So this transit will go via Kyrgyzstan towards to Iran and further up.
That's very exciting, but the question is connectivity in the region is not an easy thing. As you said, you've seen your neighbors, Kazakhstan has been developing quite much in that regard. What does it take for Kyrgyzstan to catch up? What kind of level of trust that you need to have with China and some of the neighboring countries? For example, with Kazakhstan, to be better linked with one another?
Kazakhstan, we are very close culturally, historically, almost the same language, and Kazakhstan is certainly in avant-garde of the development, economical developments. They are developing much faster than others. Their advantages, and so far, I guess, we'll try to catch up this.
I see. But you know, Madam President, there are many different kind of platforms and mechanisms that existing in the region. For example, the Eurasian Economic Community is one of those that Kyrgyzstan is part of. So as a result of that, there are some common initiatives that you as a member, Kyrgyzstan, needs to fulfill with. And how do you see that is likely to become part of you? Well, at the same time, you participating in Belt and Road Initiative. Even though China and Russia, which is on the Belt and Road Initiative, the other is on the Eurasian Corridor, actually believe that one another could cooperate and complement. But for a country that's in the region, what is it like?
No, first of all, I want to stress that Kyrgyzstan was probably the first in Central Asia country who became a member of WTO. So we've been
World Trade Organization. Yes,
exactly.
Indeed.
And we joined last year to this Eurasian Economical Alliance, which combines 5 countries of the former Soviet Union, headed by Russia. So, and this initiative with the Belt and Road, this is global initiative, by the way. It's not a regional, right, initiative, and aims the whole globe, goes to all directions. But in this region, you are right, we have a number of those such economical alliances, which agenda of which is something different sometimes. But economically, I guess I don't see any problem with the Belt and Road, and especially they are much smaller such economical and financial institutions, which some countries, for them, this is sort of obstacle. At the same time, new initiatives came alongside with Belt and Road. This is financial institutions like Silk Road.
Right.
And Asian Infrastructural Investment Bank. So, I mean, look, each of them, I'm sure that experts, they know that each of them, they have own area of responsibility, own mandate, and if politics come to the point, then probably sometimes it turns a bit attention, but otherwise, economically, all of us, we are trying to move.
Talking about politics, Madam President, your country, together with some of the other neighboring countries, have gone through quite some ups and downs politically. At this point, which stage do you think you are, Central Asian countries? Well, from your understanding, of course, now you're far away from politics. You're working on your own and some of the important social initiatives. So I guess you could comment about that. Which stage are you in now?
All of us, we are successors of the Soviet Union, and we have celebrated our quarter of century independence this year. So 25 years old matured states. And I must tell you that development and politically as entities, we are a bit different from each other. So
already,
yeah, quite different. Central Asian countries, all of us, we are members of the Organization of Security and Cooperation of Europe. A lot of efforts has been done in our democratical developments, but today, in fact, we see that some countries pursued only economical agenda and put aside all these other matters, and they look different. But agenda is really to make life of their nations prosper, better, and certainly results, you would see some results, of course, in these countries. 25 years been troubled, difficult years.
Yes.
After the collapse of USSR, we have passed through such a not an easy time, turbulent years. We're supposed to learn market economy, democracy, and sort of demand from the world was very hard to us. But in 25 years, we learned something. And I do believe that with such a new knowledge and baggage of skills and knowledge, will probably go now much easier.
Madam President, you know, I know you personally, politically, have gone through a lot. At times, you even become a controversial figure in your country, politically speaking. But now you have survived it and thrive in a different way, on a different cause. how do you look at the life of politicians? Now you're out of politics these days. And what do you make of the past 25 years for you to know yourself better and know your country better?
We have gone through this very uneasy time of privatization of public goods. So after the collapse of USSR, time came to privatize everything. And it has been done very quick way. So in order not to turn back to socialism, and forcefully, and let's say 70–80% of public goods came to the hands of 5–10%. Others became very poor. Yes. I'm sort of with the socialist background, the person. I thought that this is unfair, unjust. And I stay on this position until today in the way that I do believe that it should be equality. We should overcome poverty. This is the agenda, for example, still in my country. So that was my background, that was my aim also. I came as leader of opposition party, Social Democrats, to the revolution of 2010, when the president of those days, Bakiyev, he was overthrown by mass uprisal of people. So, I mean, people couldn't stay anymore like that. So, and I do believe that you should be very politician should be very firm to his principles. He should be devoted to the ideals and to the aims of his nation. I do believe that, especially now, reading report of President Xi Jinping, when he's talking about the socialism, about, he said, China has passed parliamentary life governance, presidential, constitutional monarchy. So the most successful it was socialism.
To China.
To China, yes. Socialism, which brought prosperity to the people, and so they don't have anymore such needs like bread or clothing. So
that is China's own model. And now China is in a socialism with Chinese characteristics in a new era. So it seems that there are a lot of different debates inside different countries about how to improve their system. You certainly have that too. But as a women leader too, this is something not easily found in many countries as the women leader, as a top leader of the country. So, Madam President, I also want to ask you as a woman as well. What did those difficult days, the challenges you faced, and usually as a politician has to face those challenges alone at the end of the day, has taught you about yourself, about the people around you, about the real essence of your country, and about what a woman is like?
It was very difficult days. The power fell down. The president who left the power here killed about 100 people, and power was in this just laid down in the bloodshed. And in that moment, we took the responsibility. My interim government, which we set up immediately, we gave the such oath to people that will put constitution to the table of people, will bring up again each part of the power, like parliament, like president. So it was a very turbulent time, and I was not hysterical. I was very calm. I was very cold, in the sense pragmatic, rational, And I must tell you that when people say that, oh, women, they are weak part and they scared, they don't do. No, women are like mothers of the house. Women are very concentrated on the high priorities, on agenda. None of the men have seen me in panic. I took a lot of responsibility in those difficult days.
Madam President, before we go, I want to ask you a visionary question. There are a lot of debates these days in the world about, what kind of approach. Maybe we only deal with bilaterally. Some say regionalization, globalization is still the way to go, as probably China believes. And some also suggest, well, our interests come first, and only our interests come first. Madam President, what is exactly your vision where the world is going?
And first of all, I would praise this position of globalization. Look, in such a world, we are approaching to the 20th of 21st century, right? And how you would now get introvert and state that my country is first. And so nationalism and populism, which are the such strides of this new politics, it doesn't work in the case of my country. And these are not mottos of my belief. Regarding politics, concrete politics, certainly you should work with the frame of regional organization, no doubt about this, because you can't go straight from your village to the globe. So I think we would still work within Shanghai organization, within
SCO,
Shanghai
Cooperation
Organization, within our Eurasian Economic Alliance, and so on. So regionalism, with this regard, this is normal stuff. And I would insist that globalization, this is our future, and so this is the future of our children, and we must make sure that in their education, in their learning the world, our children should be open and ready to be citizens of the world.
What a pleasure having you, Madam President. Roza Otunbayeva, the third president of the Kyrgyz Republic. Thank you so much for being with us. All the best.
Thank you.